Dave Filoni's dog is canon. Hey everyone, welcome back to another behind-the-scenes-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with behind the scenes for Ahsoka visual effects.
That was like the longest title ever. Like when I was putting on live stream, I'm like, what? I'm just going to say VFX, effects, breakdown, Dave Filoni.
Yep.
I'm not even going to put in the whole title. It's just too much.
Yep. So if you have no idea what we're talking about, I'm going to have the link to the video on YouTube in the description of what we're going to be going over tonight. ILM, they, about a month ago, had an interview with Dave Filoni about the visual effects of the Ahsoka series. And so I thought this would be fun. We like doing some behind-the-scenes stuff. And so I was like, if we can hear Dave Filoni talk, like, it's always going to be exciting. So we'll be going over kind of all the stuff that went on there. So it's only about like a 29-minute video. So I think it'll be kind of fun. But
the chat's already like, oh, Ahsoka? Okay, I got to bounce. I'll catch you on the next one. Which is fair. Like, if you guys are listening to this, pause it, go watch it, and then come back. It's not even that long. It's like 29 minutes or something. Like, it's a shorter episode, kind of just communication talk kind of thing, and then they show highlights and Dave Filoni's dog.
Yep. So it's kind of cool. So go watch that. It's a lot of fun. And I also noticed on there that there's a few other Star Wars behind the scenes. The Mando season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett. So maybe we can do that as like a poll or something. See if people want us to go over that.
Honestly, as much hate as Book of Boba Fett got.
Let's just say, comparatively, it got like zero hate compared to some other.
Well, compared to the High Republic, yeah. But either way, what I'm trying to say is the visual effects though on that show were crazy. So I kind of do want to see like how they designed the Rancor for Boba to be on it and stuff like that.
For eSportsy in the chat, minor spoilers for the Ahsoka series. If you haven't watched the show, we'll be referencing like creatures and some of the stuff.
It's just like most, yeah.
But if you haven't watched the show, you might want to skip. But if you've seen the show, like, you're not gonna like die if you don't watch this video and like listen to our breakdown. So you can choose to do whatever you like. But anyway, we got before we jump into today's episode, we have our Spotify comment section. We can't call it Q&A because that's not what it's called. But we did have a question. And now it's like super complicated how they got this set up on here. But so I just said, leave your thoughts on season 1 of Acolyte in the comments. And so if you haven't watched Acolyte, you should still go watch it. No spoilers in any of these comments, but we got all of our breakdowns done last week, finale. So go check out our breakdowns of that. If you haven't watched the show yet, go watch the show. So we finally got some comments for the new setup on Spotify. Elias says, not only do I get the first comment on the YouTube video, I get it on Spotify too. So Elias is in the history books. He's the first person to put a comment on Spotify. So good job, Elias.
Keep up the good work.
They did unlock like our previous Q&A responses.
Oh, they did.
So they didn't erase them. So technically they're in the comment section, but this is like Elias is the first like real commenter.
Well, but that begs the question, because wasn't there one week that we couldn't read because it disappeared?
That is true.
The last one.
I'd have to go. It wasn't the last one because it's been a few weeks of episodes. So
No,
the
I'm saying
last
the last what
Q&A, yeah, I know I'm saying I have to go back and look, but I didn't even think about that.
maybe next week.
Next week we'll see maybe. But that was Elise's comment. James Bello says I would enjoy another episode on the show as a whole. So we kind of had it as the poll also.
Oh yeah.
And so
All right.
we got like 3/4 of people saying we should do like a full season review of Acolyte. So maybe we'll do that in the near future.
And I assume that would be with Andrew. Is they're asking that?
If he wants to join us, he seemed to be interested in doing so. And then finally, Lots of Food says, I really enjoyed season 1. It was fun to listen to all the different opinions that you guys had for each episode. The finale was great. I can't wait to see the whole Plagueis storyline play out.
All right. They are out there in the galaxy. People that like the show.
Yep. All right. Well, we might as well just jump into just talking about this Dave Filoni interview. So he sat down with like 3 of like the main supervisors, visual effects supervisors or whatever. And they kind of just talked about different aspects of the show. And a lot of it was focused on like the creatures, a little bit of the environment, and then kind of just, kind of like this general like storytelling methods that Dave Filoni has. And so it was kind of interesting to hear those. So like his main, like you'll hear a lot of like visual effects, like people like break that say things like, the best visual effects are the ones that you don't actually notice. And so Dave Filoni said this too. He's like, if you notice that this is a visual effect, like, and that means it's taking you out. Like if you're just watching something and it just seems natural and real to you, like that's the best kind of visual effects. And he's like, he felt like this show did that very well, especially with the creatures. And so the first thing they talk about is the howlers that are featured in the show, which is like the wolf-looking thing. And what's very interesting is it's based off of Dave Filoni's dog, and his dog's name is Wolfie.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Like it's like so cliche that like he would name his dog Wolfie. And
I'm surprised he doesn't have like a husky or something though, honestly. Like something that looks more like a wolf.
I don't know. But
I would put money down that he secretly like on his homestead, like secretly has like a real wolf that he just doesn't advertise to the public.
maybe.
Because he's all about wolves. That boy lives and breathes wolves and cowboy hats.
Yep. And so
in that order.
So it was funny because like the face of this dog, like Dave Filoni's dog, looked very similar to a former dog that I used to have. That was like the best dog I ever had. And so like
it kind of made you tear up a little bit.
It didn't make me tear up. I'm like, this is cool. Like this looks like there's a Labradoodle, all black Labradoodle, and we called him. His name was Dude. So I was like, that looks like Dude.
So I think I remember your dog before Dude, then, right?
Wonder.
Yes.
Golden Retriever.
Yes, I remember Wonder.
So Dude is between Wonder and my parents' current dog.
Gotcha.
So he was my favorite dog of all time, and it looks
better than Wonder.
Oh yeah, because Dude had way more personality and was just a goofball.
Oh, that's
fair. Wonder he was just a fat dog that drank out of the toilet all day. But anyway, right. Dave Filoni's dog was like, he looks like a black Labradoodle type thing, like wiry, poofy hair a little bit. And so like ILM used Dave's dog as reference for like how his hair looked and how it moved and all that stuff. And Dave said that like his dog had a photo shoot like on an all white background. Mm-hmm. So they could have a perfect reference of like how the dog looks and moves and acts and stuff like that. So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, and like he said like that the dog was on set like pretty much for the whole thing,
Yeah,
just for
like
more cross references and stuff. So when they saw him move around and stuff,
yeah, so that was cool. And what I kind of really liked was how he talked about he kind of like talked about it a little kind of throughout, and it's kind of like based off like how like the first thing about like you don't want to notice it, but like you don't want in Star Wars like the fantastical creatures to like come off as fantastical. They need to feel like the characters themselves,
that we're
most
used to in Star Wars.
like they don't see these things as fantastical. They're just like normal everyday things. I was like the same with like the environments of how you know for us like there's alien things or whatever alien planets they might look fantastical, but like he doesn't want things to be so over the top that we get distracted by it. But like if the characters in the show are not amazed by it, then it makes us like just kind of like focus in on the characters and the story and stuff like that.
Which personally, I thought it was funny that he said that because those turtle creatures took me out of it. Like I remember watching it because it made you feel like you're watching like Harry Potter universe instead of Star Wars because those creatures are just so different looking.
Right.
And like they talk a lot more, and we'll get into that part throughout this, but they talk more about those creatures and how they created them and what they are and stuff. But when they're describing them, like, yeah, they look so good and like so natural. I'm like, not to me. I was not. That took me actually out of it just because of the design of those creatures felt like it was in a different universe than the Star Wars universe.
Well, it wasn't a different galaxy, so that's
Well, and that's why we waved it off and thought it was okay.
but yeah, so and they also said like they took the personality of Dave's dog and they tried to put that into like the main howler's
Hmm.
mannerisms and personality too. So that and they also like Dave put in like a bunch of like gave them a bunch of sound effects on what the dog would how it would sound or whatever in various
Hmm.
ways. And so then they incorporated, okay, well, if this is how the dog moves and this is how it sounds, then this is what the dog has to like, or the wolf has to like look like, and how it has to move to like match these things. So, I thought that was really cool. Dave
Yeah.
really knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
um, and so then from the howlers, they go to the Purgle, and the giant space whales, um, and they said the hardest thing was to like show the scale of how big they actually were. Um, I'm like, why would it really be hard? You just like make the model and then you just like drag the corner and like make it bigger, and then like that's what you have. But they're like, no, it's not that easy. You have to like think of every little thing, and it says that they were constantly adding details to these
Hmm.
models to make it look more realistic. Because I guess like if you have like a little model of something, when we're looking at it like in front of us, like, oh, okay, that looks good. But like if you make it really big model of the same thing to scale, like you see like, oh, this is like a really smooth surface, like when it shouldn't be like that when it's this big. You have to add more texture on top of that. And so I thought one of the cool things that they did was, which I didn't even realize it was a thing, but like the white lines on the whales, I thought was just like, oh, that's just what their skin looks like. No, like they literally put in scars. Like they took blue whales in our world,
Hmm.
like they said, okay, they bump into things or whatever, and they create
They get
scars.
scars from sharks and whatever,
Or
or
if they get
the
hit by a boat
coral.
or something like that, like
Hmm.
so, like they put these, um, scars all. I was like, I thought they was just what they looked like, but no, they had to put
Yeah.
those in there to
Or even
like,
like the veins, it made it look like there's just a lot of texture that they added.
yeah,
So
and
it was
so
really cool. The teeth, the detail of the teeth and stuff like that. And
Yep.
they reference the shot of when it shows up right in front of Ahsoka as she's on top of the ship as they're going into the mouth. It like referenced that as like the scale size and how we realize. And I think we even mentioned in our podcast when we broke down these episodes that I think you were even like, dude, I didn't realize how big they were.
Yeah, I feel like
Like
they
I thought they were
were
big.
bigger here than they were in Rebels,
Yeah.
but like
Well,
they said they had to make scale cues so like that the
mhm,
audience could do things comparatively like one like okay we know how big Ahsoka is like cause she's just like a human and then we see like her in relation to her ship the T6 and
mhm,
how big that is but then like so then when we see her and the ship together next to the Purgle
mhm,
like you then see the scale because if you're just seeing it going through the sky yeah it looks big because we know like clouds and how big they are but like until you see something that we're more like directly familiar with like the size of like you're not gonna see notice how big they are and like so that scene when it's floating up they're right there in front of the thing and it comes up from the bottom of the screen and it's this gigantic like thousands of feet long and hundreds of feet wide like dang this thing is a big
it's
boy.
pretty cool.
Yeah. And something I didn't realize that they did compared to the models in Rebels was they added the side little
Fin flap
fin
thing.
things. What they said like cuttlefish? Is that what?
Yeah, it was like based off a cuttlefish
So
slash like octopus.
or like a squid, like squids have those
Yeah.
little. So it's
Mhm.
like they added those there to like mimic like swimming going through water, like how like it flows or whatever,
Mhm.
to show like
To show more layers and depths for them flying in the clouds. Because they could
yeah,
just be in the clouds and pushing their tentacles, but it didn't feel as full as now that they have something that literally looks like they're
doing the
dolphin
worm.
swimming, or yeah, the worm, like a mermaid through the sky. It made it feel like they were in water, and I do think like seeing it during the show, I thought it felt fit very well, and then even rewatching this and then breaking that down and explaining that, I'm like, oh yeah, like I had no hesitation to feel like that they were swimming. Like it just came across like that. Even though they don't have like big flappers or like they're not flying in the air, they're swimming.
They fly now.
They swim now.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right.
So
So
it's pretty cool.
yeah, I like that they added those because like I honestly don't even remember either way about Rebels. I don't ever even cross my mind like in Rebels they
Hmm.
didn't have the fins, but like we only saw them mainly just in space. We saw them like in the finale of Rebels, like in the clouds, but like I never even noticed it until they pointed it out here, so which was kind of cool.
Hmm.
Then they talked about the Noti, the little turtle guys, and how um like we knew that they were puppets, but like
The
I didn't real
detail though.
but like I didn't even realize that like when they did do animation models, like
Hmm.
I don't even think I noticed them. I thought they were just puppets the whole time, even in the action scenes.
Yep.
And so like they said, like they did, with the Purgo and the Howlers, like they had references like Dave's dog or Blue Whales for references. Like the models for the puppets was like literally the puppets. Like
Yep.
they recorded all the scenes, with how the puppets moved and stuff like that, and then they used that as a reference to make the animation models so that they would move in the same way as if it was a puppet. So
Just pretty cool idea.
yeah, so it's like it made it look to be more real in the action scenes than if
Well, and
they
it
were just
flowed probably better too
yeah. It's like
visually.
there was no like disconnect between
Hmm.
close up models and then like the action scenes. Like it all seemed the same because they just modeled. the motion after the actual models, the puppets. So that was kind of cool. But like like you said, they still didn't really look too much Star Wars. Like I think I remember saying like it looked more like Lord of the Rings or something. Like
Yeah, it feels like Lord of the Rings or even Harry Potter. Like kind of like the money bankers in Harry Potter. Like it feels very like witchy. I don't know,
well,
90 area.
well, it was
Well, yes, I
a
know
witch planet. So
it was a witch planet. But you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it didn't feel spacey, and their technology wasn't the same too. So I feel like that kind of had something to do with it. Like they were literally just on giant
beans.
beans. Like I don't know, like it wasn't the same. And there were like stick shifts, like it just looked like giant go karts kind of thing with like I don't know.
Yep. So that was cool talking about the
Yeah.
Nodi. And then um, they also filmed like in like a outside like lot of like they definitely said like smaller than a football field of like just like a dirt ground with blue screen around it, and how like they had to like figure out, do they want to film in a volume for certain scenes or like out in this field,
Hmm.
and how like he's like a lot of it was filmed like in this field, um mainly when they're riding the howlers. I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting that like first like they based it off horses, but then they're like, but the horses, like we know what a horse looks like when it runs, and like to
Yeah.
have this dog howler thing move the same way, this wouldn't make sense. So it's like interesting how like they put like these blue screen like
On
coats
the
on these dogs,
horses.
but it was cool because it was just like the body up, it wasn't on the legs,
Yeah.
because they replaced the legs with the dog legs to like run like a dog, not like a horse.
Yeah.
So like the body of the howler like bounced when they're riding like a horse, but
Hmm.
it ran like a wolf more so, um, which is kind of cool. Like
I thought that was really cool. I thought like the creativity of making you remember that it's a dog and not a horse, even though you're riding it. And like it kind of reminded me of Lord of the Rings when the orc were on those like dog things, but then the people were on horses, and you can tell the separation between two characters, like in the way those animals were moving. And I thought it was very similar to like you knew that they were on a dog. Like visually, you were like, that's how a dog would run,
right,
not a horse. Like it's not galloping like a horse.
yeah, like I think they specifically said we didn't want it to gallop.
Yeah,
So that's, I like that.
attention to detail,
Like they could
those
have
little
been
things.
kept
They
it
could
just
have
like a
just
horse, and they would have been fine.
well,
But like,
and they could have
but
cut
then
corners like episode A and literally just make a horse looking creature.
they just put long hair on a horse.
Yeah, like they could have done that, but they didn't because Dave Filoni doesn't cut corners.
Nope. And so, and then like the big thing also was just the planet Peridia. They based it off of this place in Scotland, which was
Hmm.
cool, and how they ILM they went to Scotland and they did like all this film work to like pictures and see how it all looks out there,
Angles.
of like what Dave what Dave was looking for. And they said, right, we're lucky because the day that we went to go film was the same overcast sky that was going to be in these scenes on this planet. So like it was perfect lighting of how we were going to do it in the show anyway. So like they got lucky on that. And so like it looks exactly the same as,
Yeah, it was crazy.
and it's all digital, so it's like makes it even better. And they're like, because all the people at ILM had the same reference, pictures and footage of this land. Like I was kind of a little confused on exactly what you're saying, but it's like they all like individually did the same thing, and then like when they all came together to like put the stuff together, it was like an 80% match, and like they took like made a sample like area and they put it
Mhm.
in these pictures, and like you couldn't see where the key computer animated stuff was compared to like the actual thing. So it's like
Yeah.
ILM is the GOAT. Like they're the best at what they do in the movie industry. So it's cool having them work on Star Wars all the time.
Yeah, they're the best
And so
for sure.
yeah, and definitely like um, Dave Filoni had a line. And we kind of heard it before, but like people say, "Oh, let's fix it in post," but he's like, "No, that's stupid. We're gonna fix it in pre. Like we're gonna plan everything out like exactly how we want it beforehand, so we don't have to like fix it in post and then like he's like, oh, they did that there, they had to fix something there, it doesn't fit well. He's like, no, we're gonna plan this how it's supposed to be, um, and they said that they liked that he gave them like football plays,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like how like drawings
Like
like
he built like a straight up storyboard of everything.
it's like yeah like here's like all these people on this scene and then he drew arrows like okay they're gonna go here here and here
Mm-hmm.
in the next scene and like they could just follow like this would made our life a lot easier to like all these details that Dave Filoni put in to like from scene to scene made ILM's life a lot easier.
Well, and they're talking about how most times when they get a storyboard, they just get the story, and they kind of just create it, and after a few weeks, they present it, and if it's not what they want, then they have to always just redo it, and they're used to that. But Dave broke it down to such a T that they didn't have to redo it later,
Yeah, and he's
which
like,
makes you think, why don't they always do that? Like,
well, it's like he's like, well, in movies you can do that because you have you're planning the movie for 2-3 years,
mhm,
but like a TV
there's not
show
enough time.
you have a smaller time frame, so you can't like fix things later. You have to get it right the first time around. um and so but what I also thought was really cool that I didn't realize they did this, but like they talked about the scene when Ahsoka's flying through the boneyard in
Hmm.
space or whatever, and how like Dave had all these ideas on what he wanted, but like ILM they created their own specific scenes that Dave didn't come up with himself. And so like they put things in there. So when Dave's watching these scenes, it's like he's watching it for the first time like a fan because they were able to have their own story
Take.
ideas of like what was happening as they're being flying through the boneyard and being chased and stuff like that. So that's cool that ILM can make those canon decisions like that. Because that'd be scary. Like you come up with like a creative idea for something in Star Wars, and like you're just hoping that like the director and
Oh,
writers like
yeah.
approve of it. And Dave's like, yeah, like this is like I'm watching Star Wars for the first time. Like, because like he knows about everything going on, so it's like he's not like surprised at like the stories that come out. But like when he sees something in Star Wars that he didn't even think of, he's like, that's pretty cool.
Well, and I think to that thought though, I think because ILM has been with Star Wars since the beginning,
Right.
like there's that trust with those characters and the story and with the universe and what Star Wars is. That honestly, I feel like some people on ILM would have a better straight up movie than some of the writers that they end up hiring to create Star Wars.
Right. That'd be
So
cool to have like ILM make their own movie. Like
just go for it.
yeah, like even though they're just
Be
visual
dope.
effects people, but like make a movie like how they
You
want
know
it.
they're fans of it though. Like
Right.
you don't get a job at ILM and not like Star Wars because then you don't believe in that company. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's the whole company was based around Star Wars originally. So like I just don't feel Star Wars. Like that's like you're not gonna get hired. Like you're fired like instantly. You know. So
Right.
so it makes sense.
I don't know if you caught this line or not, but Dave refers to someone named Kathy, which I
Is
believe is
that Kathleen?
Kathleen
Yeah.
Kennedy. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's like, talking about her career or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I like making movies I'd like to watch.
Uh-huh.
Did you catch that line in there?
I did. I ignored once he said her name. I kind of
Oh, you
like
caught
was like,
Kathy as being Kathleen? Because it was very
yeah, and I
quick.
was
Like, you
just like,
barely even notice it. But I was like,
yeah,
oh.
I was like, oh, here we go,
So, oh,
kissing.
God. Oh, whatever.
Just kidding.
So,
Gotta say her name at least once in an interview, or you get in trouble.
yep. Also, I really like that um, the team there said that they all like watched all of Star Wars, like the animated stuff, to like really understand, going from these characters from cartoons into live action and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I really like that the team that did the visual effects, they did their own research to understand, Clone Wars and Rebels, which Dave was both involved in, to like
Well, and
continue
you
that
knew that
style.
this story is literally Rebel season 5, so
Right.
you can't really mess it up. Also, what I found was, I mean, I don't know if we're there yet, but we might
We're
be.
towards the end anyway, so it's whatever.
Well, that they're talking about how many times they do like edits and like rendering and stuff. Like it's like they were saying it was like 2,000 times they'll submit it, but then for a show, it's like double that. It's like 4,000 times.
Right. So he said an average. I don't know if he said Star Wars movie or if it was just movies in general that they do,
I think
but
it was just like movies in general.
like how many VFX shots, so like computer animated rendered shots like in movies were
Mm,
other, and they're saying like probably around 2,000, but he said in all of Ahsoka there was like 4,000 VFX shots, and
yeah,
so if 8 episodes of Ahsoka is equal to you know five
almost two
hours,
movies.
five
Yeah.
hours, it's probably about the same per minute or whatever, but it is interesting to see that they still put 4,000 VFX shots in one series to like show
Yeah,
like,
well,
yeah,
and
they're not cutting corners, they're making sure
that's what
it's
I'm
done
saying.
right.
Like, it's people think because it's a show that it's lower quality than a movie. And like, yeah, back when we were younger, it was a thing. Like, but now it's not, especially these live action stuff. Like David was like, you can't cut corners with this stuff because one, the fans will never let you live it down. And then two, it's just like this is the visual like this is what Star Wars is right now. We haven't had a movie in so long. So you're gonna cut corners and stuff like that. You can't it's not the same show. Like it's not the same feel. So it makes sense that Dave is like, no, you can't cut corners. Like it has to be just as good as if you were watching a movie. If this was all put together as one film, it needs to be just as story and everything needs to flow just as well. So,
Right.
and I feel like that's why when there is shows or whatever that have a little bit of bad acting in it or things that take you out of it, it stands out even more because
Right.
everything around it is so well done that someone like acting at the best is gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
Right. So it's
So it makes sense.
it forces, people in movie and TV show making to like, if they're gonna make, the sets and the VFX so good,
Mhm.
it has to push them to make sure the acting and the story is better than it normally would be, because if that's not good in comparison to the animation and the CGI, like
You're
it's
gonna get
gonna
hate.
it's gonna jump out at you. So
Mhm.
um, when VFX are better, the movies are better because it pushes everything to be better. So that's
Yep.
cool. And then kind of just the last thing was just talked about the T6 starship, that the Jedi starship that Ahsoka flew, and so they had a physical model made from scratch, and then they had to make the CGI rendering of that same model, but then they had to make like aspects of that ship like into larger sets, and
Yep.
so they were talking about the continuity between everything a little bit, but going from a model to a digital model, then to like larger sets of that same ship, and how I think they're saying there was some slight differences just because like when you do a big giant model of like a character walking out of a door, there's going to be other details in that larger model that you have to have there that wouldn't be in a smaller model. And so, but you know, there's a lot of scenes where they did it like with the Razor Crest from The Mandalorian, where it was just like a physical model, and they did it on a black screen, like black room with lights on it, and they just moved the camera past the model, and they did that the same thing with Ahsoka's ship. How it was just an actual model that was filmed,
Yeah.
but then there's also scenes with the CGI rendered one.
Well, even Dave mentioned the Razor Crest in this whole thing,
Yeah.
which just made me sad that they blew it up.
R.I.P. Razor Crest. But now we have
Doesn't
the N1 Hot Rod Starfighter, which is pretty cool.
It's not the Razor Crest though. That shit was so dope. I think it's cool. It's not practical.
Doesn't need to be practical. It looks cool.
I guess. I'm just thinking like, it's like, am I gonna travel across the country in a V-Bug bus and sleep in the bus and chill, or a convertible Mustang? One is gonna be funner than the other one, but the other one's more practical and lifestyle. So
Well, I was gonna say you're not a dad like Din Djarin, but like, wait, you are a dad in real life.
I am.
But I don't know.
You can't get all your bounties. He had like 4. How many bounties did he have? Frozen and Carbonite in the beginning of that show.
Yeah. What is it? What was it? A game? Was it that terrible Squadrons game? Wasn't there something like you towed?
I think you had a tow like.
Maybe it was a different game or something.
No, I think that is that one.
No,
Wasn't
I
it?
remember. No, it was the Skywalker Saga.
Oh.
Lego, like you'd capture someone, and like
Mhm.
it was like you towed them behind with like
Like a rope.
not like a rope, like a tractor beam type thing that just like held it behind the ship. That's what it
Mhm.
was. I think it was a Lego Star Wars game. I'm like maybe that's what he has to do. He just has to
Like hover, like
hopefully it doesn't like glitch in the middle of hyperspace and that that
Cro-
bounty gets
that guy's gone.
yeeted into a sun. Like,
Asteroid field just crushes this poor guy.
yep. Funny.
Dude, I'm like slowly watching through season 1. Bro,
What?
that show is so good, dude.
Mando season 1?
Yes, they that is like the definition of not cutting corners. That opening sequence when he's in the middle of a frozen planet, he walks up and then cuts someone in half with the door. Like, dude, that was it's so beautiful.
Yep. The Mandalorian's a pretty good show. Someday we'll get season 4 and a movie. Or no, we're getting a movie first, probably, I'm guessing, and then season 4.
Probably.
Which I wonder when we're gonna get news about that, like the Mandalorian
Probably
and
Super
Grogu.
Bowl this year.
Maybe
We'll get the first trailer.
I don't think
maybe
they started any filming. I don't think
they'll
like,
probably announce everything, and maybe we'll get the first trailer during Star Wars Celebration.
Oh yeah, next year,
like a year from now.
It's like
Isn't
May.
it? No, it's in April.
April or May of 2025 is in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get dates galore and hopefully trailers galore next year. So, and we'll be here for it all, folks. So
we will be.
Hit that subscribe button.
We'll be in these seats because probably none of us are going to Japan.
Yeah, we're not going to Japan.
So
hopefully,
we'll be literally here.
2026, we're hoping stateside.
Somewhere,
Chicago. Dave, have it in Chicago so we can just drive like 6 hours to there so we don't have to.
And we can do the biggest meet and greet of all time in Empire Radio history. Just
Yeah, it'd be our,
Chicago.
our second one.
But it'll be the biggest one. It'll be huge.
I think,
Just
yeah, a lot of
Chicago.
people would go to that, I think. So,
Or even Miami. Or, I mean, not Miami. Like,
goes Chicago, then we'll go to Anaheim
yeah.
for my second choice, and then Florida would be my third choice because Florida is just not a place I want to go.
Either way, we're going to be there. We're not missing.
As long as it's stateside. Hopefully we can get tickets. Like,
for free.
No, we're not gonna
Hey,
wait.
man.
We're gonna get
We
a
need
full
press
4 day.
passes.
Okay, that's gonna be not easy to get. We'll just get tickets just so we can.
We're gonna we'll do both. We're gonna pay for them, and then we're gonna somehow try to get our press pass. Bro, we got it. Our fans will help push for them to give it to us.
Start the campaign now. Hashtag
give us the tickets.
Give it to Empire Radio. All right. Well, that is the ILM Dave Filoni VFX behind the scenes discussion. So it's always fun.
Shorter episode.
Yep, it was a lot of fun hearing Dave Filoni talk because he's just so good at what he does, and I'm happy.
I was watching this with Steph, and she's like, "His voice is so monotone. Like, I'd probably fall asleep." I'm like,
No.
I can listen to him talk all day.
Yep. All right. Well, we might as well just transition. Oh wait, before we transition, we forgot. If you're falling asleep because you're listening to someone monotone,
that's your transition.
You should have a cup of coffee or tea from our sponsor, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. So let's take a little commercial break.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
All right, cool. So let's transition over to everyone's favorite time of every episode, voicemail time.
It's voicemail time.
All right, cool. Well, like it has been for this is like 3 or 4 weeks. We've had like a ton of voicemails, and so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I got to delete one, and then I got to like upload one that couldn't fit on the soundboard on Zencaster.
Oh wow,
there's so many. So, first of 3 from Shadrick, who we've been hearing for the last few weeks. So he has some thoughts on the finale of Acolyte. I think there's a couple other voicemails also about the finale of Acolyte. So if you haven't watched Acolyte and you don't want to get spoiled by some things, you might want to skip voicemails tonight. But let's take a listen to his first voicemail.
Hey guys, Shadrick. Okay, well, this time it's kind of my fault. I don't think this voicemail is going to come in because I think you guys are streaming at this very moment. But I'm heading to work right now. But I watched the most recent episode, the finale, obviously with my brother, and man, I'm disappointed. They did Darth Plagueis pretty dirty. They just had him some creeping in the shadow. That was it. Because supposedly this whole show is just leading up for 4 seconds of Darth Plagueis, I guess. And of course, they had to drop Yoda like the last two. And of course, obviously, I'm going to be happy to see Yoda, but for real, I think I really would have hated this episode if we didn't get some type of cool lightsaber fight, and we got a pretty good one. I loved the fight between Sol and Kymer. It reminded me of like the video games, how they fought, or how I imagined my toys would fight, basically, when I was a kid. It was pretty dope, but overall, though, it was cool seeing a live-action version of Darth Plagueis, but I don't know. I felt like he could have had more screen time, obviously, but that might be for season 2. That's if the show don't get canceled.
Yep. I don't think they're going to get canceled, but yes. But we liked the finale last week, all three of us, so.
But to his point, imagine that episode without the dueling.
Yeah, it would be
pretty bad episode.
There wouldn't be any emotion behind anything really going on, so. Soul went out like a G.
Yeah. And
Hashtag Soul was right. I want to get a shirt. I want to go to Star Wars Celebration and have that on my shirt. Master Soul did the right thing. I want to have that.
So I didn't realize Steph pointed this out to me. This is so random. But Teespring is now part of Canva. So you can just design shirts on Canva and print and like just order it from Teespring. So
That's
like you
good to know because we're a subscriber on Canva.
Yeah, so we could literally just do that.
We just
like make one-off shirts for ourselves.
We gotta find a design though that's not copyright. I was thinking we could do like I've seen people take like I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt here,
and just put
font,
ours.
and just put Empire Radio. But we just can't put a Star Wars podcast on it. We can't because then that's Star Wars is a trademarked thing. So
could we do?
Literally, if you can see right there, a little TM right at the end of Star Wars
scrubs.
So,
but if you do in that font, people know.
We gotta figure that font, but we need to. If you're listening,
yes. We haven't said this in a hot minute.
Make us a logo or new logo or make us like cartoons or something. Like we need to have merch ideas because people have been wanting merch for a long time. And there's a few people out there. We have 2 people that bought merch before our merch site got taken down. Mm-hmm. Then people that went to Empire Radio or Empire Con or Empire Radio fan meet and greet we had last summer.
There's some shirts out there, but there's not a lot of people that have them.
Yep. So
we would, and
we could actually like make a few bucks more than we do now. So so if you're listening and you can make a cool logo that like looks like Star Wars or something, I don't know, but not like so overtly Star Wars that our merch gets taken down. But
just send us, say this is what I can do. Write us in Discord or in our fan email. And we have some ideas brewing, but me and Jeremiah are not artists in that way, I should say.
No.
Well, we're not drawing artists.
I need to message Puzzler and have her she did stuff for like that picture right behind you.
This one.
That one. She is amazing. We gotta just hire her to like
create.
She's still in high school, art. So we gotta like talk to
her. Hire her parents to let us hire her.
Yeah. So, but Puzzler, I don't know if you're listening anymore, but if you're out there, we need you. All right. Well, let's take a listen to the second voicemail from Shadrach, and I think he's driving along. So hopefully, his this music on the background doesn't get us demonetized, even though we don't make any money. But let's take a listen.
Hey guys, Shadrach again. I know. I feel like my last voicemail for the finale was a little rushed. So I thought about it a little more, but my biggest thing with this finale is I am just not connected with the 2 main characters. Well, quote unquote, 2 main characters, the twins. because like none of the emotional stuff was hitting me. I could give a crap less. And I thought it was dumb they washed May's memory away. I'm guessing just, I don't know. I really don't know. They should have just killed her off, to be honest, so they don't have to do the stupid parent trap thing no more. And again, it was hard to get hype when May's crystal from OSHA. God, it's confusing now because OSHA's not wearing the dark clothing. But it wasn't as hype seeing OSHA's crystal go red because, I don't know, it just didn't feel good. There's so many good things in this show, but overall it's so bad. Star Wars, why do you keep doing this to me? But I don't know. That's pretty much all I got. Sorry for the crappy audio. It's crappy Kroger music in the background.
He got cut off.
I think it's working.
He's working or doing something. I don't know.
It didn't sound like a moving
Focus.
vehicle.
Focus, Shadrick. No multitasking.
Also, half of that I was trying to figure out what song
Yeah,
was playing,
I couldn't
but I
tell.
couldn't figure it out. So I think we're safe on the demonetization part.
But I agree, it's hard to get attached to OSHA and May. The writing just wasn't there to get us connected to them as characters.
I don't even think a lot of that has to do with either the acting. I think a lot of that has to do with the writing.
Yep. All right. Well, we got one last one from Shadrick, so let's take a listen.
Hey guys, Shadrick. I know this is probably going to end up on the next podcast episode, not the finale, but that's fine. But I do have a few more opinions about the Acolyte overall. Like the show, the whole season overall. I think this show would have been 10 times better if they got rid of the twins completely, all the flashback sequences, and to make up for that, just make Keimer and Vanestra the two main characters. And if they do flashback sequences with that, they could have showed, I don't know, when she was training Keimer and all those times, like all the good times they had up to, when she tried to kill him. This show should have just had those two as the main characters. I think it makes sense now that I think about it more and more. I don't know. Because Keimer's definitely one of the most interesting Star Wars characters we've had since Balin, I think his name was, from the Ahsoka show. And Vanestra, she's getting really interesting too. Especially with the whole twist towards the end of how she just blamed everything on Saul. So I'd like to see where things go. Hopefully the second season, Keimer and Vanestra are the main characters.
All right, cool. And I think he brought up a really good point, and I agree that they could just wrote the show around Keimer and Vanestra, where, Keimer could have been the person that was killing the Jedi, and then Vanestra's leading a team to investigate, and she realizes early on that it was her former Padawan that she thought she killed. I think it would have worked a lot better.
I think it would have made more sense.
Yeah, I think hashtag give it to Shadrick. Like, that's a good idea. I'm kind of mad now that
that we didn't think about that.
Not that we didn't think about it, but they didn't also do that. Like, they could have just done that, and
they would have had a lot less hate.
Yeah, it would have been a more focused story, and it would have been, they could have made it like where, he turns to the dark side on his own and then gets recruited by the Sith, which might have what happened, I'm guessing, but it would have been a more focused story to do that. And it's cool to see a fallen Jedi joins the Sith, and they're in the Sith line, or at least were until they failed and then gets replaced. But
so what if they would have done that, and the Acolyte could have been Vernestra's newer Padawan? So her old Padawan turned evil and then somehow converted her new Padawan to become evil with him.
That'd be cool.
That would have been dope.
That he steals her Padawan,
Yeah.
and then they both try and kill Plagueis, and they both die.
Dude, that
trying to
would have
take a-
been sweet.
And then
Oh, that's
Vernestra-
annoying.
dang
What?
it, Shadrach, you're not allowed to voicemail anymore. I'm just kidding. You always can send a voice. But like, I really like your idea, Shadrach. That's one of the best
That would
ideas
have been
we've ever had.
cool.
A way better story.
And like I think an issue like what if we do that episode, we'll dive into this more. But like looking at it now, a week off, taking a step back, analyzing it, talking to other people I've talked to about it, like it is very much so like too much going on for one story.
Right.
And I think because of that, the writing failed in certain spots, the acting failed because of the writing failed in certain spots. So then it became very sloppy, and it was just so much going on, so many things that are like, yeah, you want questions, yeah, you want to be like, what's happening next week? You want people to stay engaged, but not to the point where everyone's confused and frustrated. And then it also feels like a lot of it's stealing from episode 1 Star Wars, where like there's a lot of ties in the same similar characters, similar outcomes, and so like I just think it was just too much. Like there's a lot going on.
Yep.
But
all right,
yeah.
cool. Thank you, Shadrach. We'll hope to hear from you again. But no more complaints against Acolyte. I don't know.
No.
it's like everyone is like
we're gonna have a lot of that.
Yep. So I think
years to
people, even though we're gonna try and do one last thing on Acolyte, we're probably gonna like. It's nice to be done with it. Like it's in the past.
I think everyone feels like that.
Even though we'll get season 2 again, but in the future sometime. But like, I'm happy that we can move on to new stuff and new shows and new books and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's still another show that we thought we were gonna get before Acolyte. We still haven't got a trailer or anything for it yet.
No, but that's coming out this fall. It's like this. They said it's for sure coming out this year. So it's the last thing that's on the list of things that they're going to release. So
there's less than 6 months left in the year. So
yep, it'd be a nice fall show for Skeleton Crew. All right. Well, moving on. We have 2 voicemails from James, who sent in some voicemails a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. So let's take a listen to his first one.
Hey, Empire Radio. It's James again. I voicemailed in a couple weeks ago, and then I meant to do it again, but I kept forgetting, not gonna lie. My bad. We got Plagueis ever so briefly, but that was so cool. I woke up super early to watch it, and I like sat up so straight. I like snapped out of my daze. I was so excited. Yoda was very underwhelming, I feel, because I was not gonna lie, I just really wanted more Plagueis at the end, and he kind of looked old, which isn't really right. But so that clues me into my question, or it's not as much a question; it's more like a proposition, kind of. So something that ticks me off about Star Wars is a like I know Jeremiah will probably be interested because it has to do with Star Wars math. It's like the age of Yoda's species doesn't seem to line up at all. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Because, like, Yoda's 900 years old, and he's like a senile old man. He's going to die. But Grogu is 50, and he's like an infant and like a baby. So how does, like, that line up? Because I feel like Grogu should be, like, speaking. He should be, like, a toddler. Like, do they live really long but, like, age very quickly for their age? I don't know. It's like,
He got cut off because he ran out of time, but he picks up in the second one, so let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's James again. I ran out of time, and I only just realized when I saw the timer ticking down. So yeah, just want to finish up what I was saying. It's like, you think they age really fast, but live really long, or is it just Disney wanting to keep Grogu a toddler or like an infant just for like publicity? Yeah, I'm done. So that's my little question proposition for you. Acolyte finale was good. It left me wanting a second season. Hopefully, there's more Plagueis. But yeah, later.
All right. Thank you, James. So,
It worked for James.
question about Yoda's species and aging. So, I think it's one of those things where I think he's on the thing like how it's about the advertising, it's about like the merch with Grogu. Because like if 50 years compared to 900 years would still mean that Grogu would be like 5 or 6 years old if it was like compared to like human age. So you'd think he would talk. So I don't know. As alien species, they are all going to be different in how they do things. But I also think maybe one little clue from the show is that because of Grogu's like trauma from Order 66 and what happened to him, like he suppressed a lot of, he forgot everything, and Luke had to like give him his memories back and all that stuff. Maybe he reverted back to like to like
A kid, like a toddler.
like he didn't like
Infant.
the trauma didn't allow him to like age as if he would have, if he was to continue training with the Jedi and stuff. So maybe it has to do with that. But I'm kind of grasping at straws with that.
Well, I think that could make sense. But to his point, like Miles he'll be 3 and 2 months, and he yells at me and has full on sentences now, and like, I mean, it's still a little broken English, but to your point too, though, like all kids, they talk differently at different times, and like, but at 7 years old, you should be talking.
Yeah,
But
and it's
maybe
like,
he's just not watching enough Miss Rachel. Grogu needs to go watch Miss Rachel and do some speech therapy or something.
yeah, is there any like Star Wars Sesame Street? Like,
There's got to be out there.
well,
They got to
like,
put their kids away for a little bit so they can still clean or yell
right.
at the droid to clean or something. So.
But it is a thing in real life that like children that aren't go through abusive homes or whatever, like, and they don't have the stimuli that they should be at their growing ages, that like they don't learn how to speak until or at all. Like sometimes they're completely like in a terrible
Mute.
situation. They never learn to talk really. And so I think we're just gonna say with headcanon until Dave Filoni says something different that it's the trauma caused him to not age mentally as fast as he normally would have.
When it comes to speaking, but
Yeah.
mentally with the Force, he's pretty good.
Yep.
I think in the movie he'll start talking
That's gonna be really weird.
more. When he like has like a baby voice that it's all backwards.
Well, okay. Yoda's way he talks with his senses is because I guess that's how his master talked. I don't know if that's canon or if that's EU or what, but I've heard that that's the way he talks is because of his master.
Yaddle,
Yaddle.
she didn't talk like that. She talked normal.
Talked normal. So
maybe it has to do with speech therapy. Maybe they have to be taught directly how to speak.
Or, he only knew Yaddle and Yoda and they spoke so different that he just
He's
couldn't
just
figure it out.
confused.
But, okay, this is very, very, very minor spoilers for the book for next week. But did you get to the part where Buryaga says English words?
Mm-mm.
So he can like say he's trying to learn to like speak certain words.
I'm like at the point where they are talking. No, okay, this is when they're talking about how his best friend is like all that, like he's like learning how to speak
right
Wookiee. So maybe I'm like almost there.
But there's a scene where like he like yells out like a word.
Ooh, that's kind of cool.
In English or basic, I guess it's
basic.
There's like twice I think it's happened so far.
That's kind of cool.
Like, dang, Chewbacca, like, why can't
Hey,
you
Chewie
learn?
freaking lazy.
He's like 200 some years old by this, 230 years old by the age of the sequels.
Well, I was gonna say Chewie doesn't have the Force, but
Gunji had the Force. He didn't learn anything.
but like how many times like Chewie has been in a situation and not died? That boy is definitely Force sensitive. Let's be real. And Yoda knows who he is. Yoda climbed on his back to flee the planet. That boy, he's a little Force sensitive, I think.
I don't know. All right. Well, thank you, James. Good to hear from you. All right. Moving on. Again, a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we got a voicemail from someone named E. It's the letter E. So let's take a listen for his next one.
Hey, Empower Radio, long-time listener, second time recording. It's E again. I don't know how to put my name on the email, but it's me, E. My question was going to be about what's next for you guys. What are some things you want to tackle since there's no new episodes coming out or shows or movies? But you guys answered that. So my comment is this. Maybe it's a question. Jeremiah, you've not seen Shrek. Like, what the heck? Like, the second, third, and fourth, okay, maybe those aren't very good. I think there's a fourth one. But the first one's a classic. You got to watch it. Y'all do a movie night, sit down, maybe do like a live showing or something. I don't know. But y'all got to watch it. Jeremiah, watch Shrek.
All right. I am not thankful for this voice. Whoa. That was really loud. I got to turn that down in post. There was a little bit of an outrage in the Discord last week.
Really?
Someone was like, what impossible thing do I have to do to get you to... Well, I was like, well, I said in the podcast, so you need to pay for Andrew's flight and hotel to come to Minnesota for a weekend, and we'd watch it. So that's what you got. If you guys want to start a GoFundMe to get Andrew to come to Minnesota so we can have a Star Wars.
What if like everyone pitches in and actually pays for him to fly here?
Well, then... someone's gonna have to organize it in the Discord. But hey, here's a GoFundMe. Here's, I don't know, how much would a flight and a hotel for like a couple nights be? Like, I don't know. I hear flights are cheap right now. But then I guess that whole crap hit the fan, so I don't know how that's affected flight prices. But yep, someone in the Discord.
He doesn't even need a hotel. He can crash somewhere.
Well, he's not gonna crash at my place, and he's not gonna crash at your place. So,
well, you can crash at my place. I don't care.
Oh, maybe, but would he want to crash at your place?
Well,
that's the question.
He might have to sacrifice for the greater good for you to watch Shrek.
But that's what people gotta do. If you want to set up a GoFundMe with for $2,000 or whatever, I don't know how much.
It'd probably be like $1,000. Flight.
Sometimes those flights are like $1,000.
Well,
I've heard recently, sometimes even just domestic flights are 4 figures.
Well, yeah, because the U.S. is dumb when it comes to flying. But in Europe, you can go everywhere for like $25. It doesn't make any sense. But
well, there's a shortage of pilots too, so there's that. But so someone in the Discord set up a GoFundMe, and we'll get Andrew to come to Minnesota.
Pay for Andrew to come over here.
I still have no desire to watch the movie, and then I guess we would probably have to do like a YouTube exclusive Jeremiah's, discussion of the movie, like review of the movie with you and Andrew. But who knows? All right.
I'm trying to find tickets right now.
Oh gosh, do that later. All right, next up we have a voicemail from our favorite Northern Irishman, Jakob. So let's take a listen. It's been a few weeks since he sent one in, so let's take a listen.
Hello, it's me, Jakob again. I'm just back from Denmark on Tuesday of last week. I haven't sent in a voicemail in a while, and I've came here to ask a very important question today. Clones, stormtroopers, or First Order stormtroopers? Oh, and also, what is your opinion on the Star Wars Battlefront games? What's better, new, remastered, or old, original?
All right, thank you, Jakob. I hope you had a great trip to Denmark. I'm sure you had a lot of fun.
Your accent's amazing. I can't get over it. So dope.
But question: clones, Imperial stormtroopers, or First Order stormtroopers? You gotta go with the clones every
I was
time.
gonna say that order, literally that order for me. First Order over original.
I think First Order troopers are more competent than.
Is that only because Big Juicy's behind you, staring you down?
Yeah, his gun. You can just.
He just blast you away or what?
No,
Oh! Don't do that, Big
There
Juicy.
he-
Chill.
He's pointing his gun at me. But I don't know. I feel like the First Order troopers were more deadly than regular Imperial stormtroopers.
Well, sure. I'm looking at the outfits.
Oh, I interpret it as like better trooper.
Well, let's do both. Outfit wise, what's your
Clones. Well, I think I keep it to clones, First Order, and then I think Imperial
Wow.
stormtroopers, like the helmet is just kind of like,
I love the design.
I know, but then also
My
confidence too.
favorite trooper, I mean, the scout trooper is the dope.
Well, we did a top 5 trooper types
We
back
did.
in the day, so go check out top 5 troopers somewhere in the last. I think that was with Andrew. So that would have been like maybe 3 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, so go check that out. There's it's out there on Spotify. You guys can
and
go find
YouTube
that.
and all kinds of places.
Is it
so.
on YouTube? It might
Yep.
not be.
No, it is. I think so.
Okay. So it's out there. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to that order. Probably throughout. I'm not a huge fan of the First Order. I don't like the white gun. I don't know.
You hear this, Big Juicy?
Yeah.
Point the gun
Come
at
at
Drew,
me.
not me.
Come at me, Big Juicy.
And then Jakob's second question was about the Battlefront games, the originals, the new ones, or like the remake, like the remastered of the
original.
So I've only played the new ones. The 2000.
You never played the original?
No. So I played the 2015 and the 2017 ones, and so I liked both of those. I would say that when it comes to like infantry like play, I probably the first one of the new ones. But when it comes to heroes and villains, Battlefront 2 I think was a lot better. So, but they're both really fun. And I haven't played Battlefront since I moved into this apartment almost 5 years ago. So
jeez,
that's how long I've been living in this apartment, almost 5 years. So it's been a while since I've played online. It's kind of sad. It's a lot of fun.
You should play it again. It's probably free.
I don't even have it anymore.
No, it's probably free on like PlayStation Plus or something.
Maybe, but I maxed out all the things on those games, but now I have to start all over. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for like a Battlefront 3, like a new.
Well, I was really hoping the digital remaster of the original was going to be good, and apparently it was bad, so I never got it. But I really wanted to get it because those two games, especially 2, those were my favorite games as kids. It was so fun. Like, it was before its time, like when it came to like group online playing, open concept ish, like the gameplay and stuff was so cool. The new ones are sweet and they visually are dope, but there's, I don't know. I really love the original, and I think it's more like because of what when I was a little kid, like that was like what it was back then. But we played so much of the part 2 that I think our disc broke. Like it would glitch. Like or the first one for sure it did. We could never get out of the first loading screen.
So that was PlayStation 2?
1 and 2,
Oh.
I believe. Maybe just 2. Maybe just 2.
I'm guessing it had to be 2.
I think it was just 2. You're right. It's just 2. But man, those games are so dope. I like remember the loading screen, what it looks like. Like, oh, those games are so good. And like I was so bummed that the original. I'm still hoping that the patches will fix it, and so that because I really want to play it. I want to play on my PlayStation or like on my computer against some Switch players and just demolish them.
Oh god.
That'd be so dope. I was really hoping it would be good because then you and me could play some online together. That'd be fun. But then apparently it was like just matched, like they just built it too quickly.
Which is weird. Like, why they don't see these in testing, like
bro,
beta
I don't
testing
know.
it.
It's like
why
the
it's not
same
good?
like Fallout. What was it? 40,
I have no
78 or 79, whatever it was. That newer Fallout one was so bad at launch that by the time they fixed it, like half the audience wasn't there anymore. And it's like, why do you guys do that? But there's deadlines, I guess. I'd rather you delay it and
Well,
fix it and make it good than just throw it at us.
Well,
you know?
what they do is they announce like a release date like too far in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you gotta do it like Marvel shows and Star Wars shows where they don't.
They just announce it. They don't.
They just wait till it's like ready. You're gonna be know it's gonna be ready in like 2 months, and then that's.
Well, there was that one Star Wars game that they canceled completely.
No, they haven't canceled it yet.
No, I thought they did.
There just hasn't been any updates since the original
trailer. Wasn't it like 2-3 years ago now?
It was 3 years ago. It was just before. It was one of Andrew's last ones before he took his break.
Yeah, because we like broke down that trailer.
That was like November or December of 2021.
Jeez.
And so now, like, it's never been officially canceled. Like, they look at like job postings on things. Like the company's still going. Like they're posting things, but like it's gonna. I think it'll come out eventually, but it's probably gonna be another couple years.
There's that new Star Wars game that's coming out soon, right?
Yeah, next month, Outlaws. So I'll probably get that and play that. Be my next game. I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West, and I'm at the point where I've done almost every single thing before like the final mission. So it's like now I have to do the final mission, and I'm so OP. Like it's gonna be so easy.
Did you ever play Red Dead?
No.
Ever?
No.
Oh, I feel like you would like that.
Maybe. I know a few weeks ago when you were gone, Elias sent in a voicemail saying I got to play Red Dead Redemption 2.
You should. Especially if Elias is telling you to, then I'm allowed to tell you. Yeah, you should go play.
All right. Well, thank you, Jakob. It's always great to hear from you. Keep them coming. All right. Next up, we have a voicemail from Andrew.
Ooh.
But not the Andrew that you're thinking.
Oh, what the heck? That was so pumped. Not to say, Andrew, whoever you are, that I'm not pumped for your voicemail, but that would have been kind of crazy if Andrew said
I came up as Andrew when I first saw the email. I was like, oh, dang. And then I was a little disappointed at the first 2 seconds. And then I'll let it go, whatever. It's fine. All right. So let's take a voicemail from Andrew.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's Andrew. I haven't called in a long time, but I'm just getting caught up and getting back in it. I was TK421 in the Discord, but I have not been able to be on that for a while, just with life changing and stuff. But I do have a question for you guys that I think will be pretty cool. As of sending this, I am heading to Disneyland and Galaxy's Edge within the next few days. And my question for you, whether you have been or not, is what character do you wish you could meet or see at Galaxy's Edge that isn't already there? Keep up the great work, you guys. I love the show. I've been getting caught up, and I love all of your takes on all of the shows that have come out. And may the force be with you. See ya.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. It's good
First
to
of
hear from
all,
you.
Andrew, beautiful name, solid name.
Yep, we
Keep-
got
keep up the
Andrew and
good work.
Andrew as hosts of this thing, and you're not
Keep
Andrew.
up the good work.
But he's on his way to Disney.
Mhm.
So I've never been, so I don't know. So I know it's all like sequel era characters, plus they've will put in like the Mando verse. So like there's Mando there, I think, and then Ahsoka there. Do they have other
I think
characters
Ahsoka
there?
was the recent one that was added.
But there's no other ones that they've been doing like Easter egg characters in there at all. So it's basically anyone outside the sequel trilogy, basically, that we could want.
I think so. Yeah, I think Ahsoka and Mando are the recent ones.
Okay. They just need to do a Clone Wars themed like park. Like,
Well, there's that rumor that they're making its own park completely. Like Galaxy's Edge is a park, but it's at like Hollywood Studios, and then or part of Disneyland. But there's rumors that they're gonna make a whole park, so you can go to different parts of it, and you can see the whole storyline of Star Wars,
I
which
don't
would
know.
be amazing.
It'd be cool, but I feel like that's
Expensive.
really expensive, and I don't know if people would be as hyped about that as. Cause I feel like Galaxy's Edge, because it's smaller, like it's a destination spot now. But if you just
Mhm.
like mass produce it, like to like a larger scale, like people would be less interested. But I don't know.
I mean,
I
I
don't know.
wouldn't be, but
But what characters? So I don't know anything from Clone Wars.
what I want Cad Bane.
Cad Bane would be cool.
Have him walking around. You just like the music of the park changes to like his theme song when he walks around the corner to walk into the Galaxy's Edge.
That'd be cool.
That'd be dope. Maybe have him like fight like Mando, like a little duel thing. Be sweet.
That'd be cool. Just like bounty hunters in general, I think would be cool.
They're all. I mean, Mando's there, so like, why couldn't we get
Mando,
Boba?
Cad Bane, Boba Fett. Aura Singh would be cool. Bosk would be kind of scary, but I don't know how they could do that without looking too like cheesy, like with the face.
IG-88 or IG-11 would be cool.
How would they do? You can't put a guy in a suit for that one, so that would be really hard.
Well, they just have him like part of a background or something.
Well, yeah.
They reel him off, reel him back. I don't know.
Dengar, just wrap a guy up in toilet paper every day.
Dengar. That'd be cool. I think it would be sweet. Yeah. But I think Cad Bane would be a really cool character to have like just walking around Galaxy's Edge.
Have a life-size Rancor robot moving around.
Dude, they should. They should be one of the rides you like go through and like Rancor's trying to eat you as you're like going under it with
Dude,
like
you could do the Rancor caretaker. Just put on a sackcloth and like rub your mud on your face and like, dude, you could do that.
I mean, yeah.
But, hey, this is Big Juicy here.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Bunch of bounty hunters would be cool, especially in other Clone Wars era characters.
Yeah, I'm excited when I go back to actually see Mando and Ahsoka. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been there once since they've been there. And the last time I was there, like they had all the actors like super high up, so you couldn't even interact with them because it's like during COVID.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, it was kind of lame. Like you saw like Rey and Chewie on the super high balcony waving down at people. I was like, "What up?" Like, okay.
But
It's
it
like-
would be cool if they got the actual actors to like cosplay every once in a while, like put on actual
dope.
costumes, and like that would be cool. Is to have like Daisy Ridley go through as Rey, or it would be cool if like Rosario Dawson was was Ahsoka. Or
Well,
even
didn't
like
they? I think another character though that they added was a character that's like supposed to be at Galaxy's Edge. That black lady. I don't remember her name. She's like in the comic books and stuff.
I have no idea.
Because
During that time
Galaxy's Edge
period?
is like an actual canon thing.
Right, I don't know any of the comics that are from that
Oh
era.
yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Andrew. I hope you have a lot of fun. Yeah, let us know your experience if you want when you're done. Any highlights or if you built a lightsaber or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, last up from our favorite Pirate King,
Ooh.
Garrett. So let's take a listen.
Hey Empire Radio, it's Garrett. Good news, that was Darth Vader's helmet we found. After bringing it to the Pirate Guild, they gave us some coordinates for where we will pick up our cargo. We arrived at a planet called Zagar, Zai something. I didn't really pay attention, I just wanted to get in and get out. The species we received the cargo from were like nothing I've ever seen. Large, cat-like humanoids standing on their hind legs. I got annoyed with them because they wouldn't tell me the cargo I was carrying and that it was meant to be kept a secret until delivery. I usually don't transport unknown cargo, but for the 20 million credit payout, I was willing to comply. That was about until halfway through our journey, we heard banging from the inside and faint yelling. We decided to open the containers. Turns out it was hundreds of people from all over the galaxy handcuffed to the containers. Eventually, I decided to close the containers back up and complete the delivery. We arrived at a space station located around what used to be Jeddah and were met by a man in uniform and a couple of white armored guards, similar to those from the Empire but very different. In the distance, I could see people in handcuffs being moved across the landing bay. Oh man, I'm running out of time. I will finish the story next week, I promise, but until then, what species/planet combo would you think is the best option for a Star Wars sitcom? My pick would be Gungans on Bespin.
All right, thank you, Garrett. Remember, this is a family-friendly podcast, so I hear
Slave trading.
It seems like you went to Zygeria and interacted with Zygerians who do some very illegal things that you participate in. So hopefully you can next time right the wrong of these
Yeah, hopefully
Zygerians.
the end of this story is that you free all these people.
Yeah, be a liberator, be the good guy. Bring an end to the Zygerians' way of life. But his question was, what species and planet would we want a Star Wars sitcom to be on? And he said Gungans on Bespin. So I don't know.
I know mine.
Wookiees on Coruscant because it's like completely out of their, like not their thing because they're all from giant skyscraper tall trees. They're going to actual skyscrapers. So Wookiees on Coruscant. That would be mine.
Ewoks on Tatooine.
Oh gosh, they would all die of dehydration in like 5 seconds.
I think that would be funny though, because Ewoks interacting with Jawas. That would be that alone is a sitcom. Them arguing and fighting and throwing stuff at each other.
Or we could do Tusken Raiders on Camino.
Ooh.
They have like unlimited water compared to Tatooine.
Yeah.
How would they fare with that kind of environment? But all right, well,
yeah,
that's all the voicemails we have tonight. So thank you, Shadrach, James, E, Yakov, Andrew, and Garrett. It's always good to hear from everyone. So
keep it up. Keep all these voicemails coming up.
Except for next week, because next week will be a longer episode probably. So Grace will appreciate if there weren't so many. But she signed up for this. She signed up for this. So if there's 100 voicemails,
she has done that herself.
Yeah, she's sticking around. So, yes. So we should mention that next week we are doing the next High Republic book, Temptations of the Force, and so Grace will be here for that. So if you have not read that book or the previous 4 in this story,
let those books. Do it, or just let us break it down for you.
Yep, just get it done. It should be a fun episode with Grace. It's always fun having her on. So the story is great, and I think there's some plot points. I'm curious to hear what Grace has to say. Maybe we can get her to get some plot points or some thoughts on Acolyte if she finished that show. I don't know.
True.
It'd be
I
cool
want
to
to know
hear
her opinion.
because one of her favorite characters is Vernestra. So let's see how you
Mm.
think. So hopefully she finished the show. Hopefully
We're
she
gonna spend
didn't.
half an hour on just talking
Uh,
about that.
So yes, but if you want to get connected to Empire Radio more than just listening or watching, go in the description below. Click the links.co/Empire Radio, links spelled 2 I's. Click that, and it's a landing page for everything. So you can send a voicemail yourself if you've never done it. Click the link. It's super easy. You just got to push record, and you're done. That's all you got to do.
You only have to put your name. Just announce it when
Yep.
you're.
But there is a line where you can type in your name or put in an email if you want. But I guess you don't have to because some people it just shows up as anonymous. So there's no email or name that they put in. But we love to see your name. Just put your name. We love to hear from you. But join the Discord also. It's a lot of fun. You can yell at me about not seeing Shrek like people have been doing for the past week.
Yeah,
So
keep that up.
go do that. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, live streams. Tonight we didn't really have anybody on the live stream because not as big of a hot take episode as breaking down the Acolytes. But yes, follow us on Twitch and join the chat. We love to hear from you, fact checking and comments and stuff like that throughout the episodes that when we record. So that's a lot of fun. There's a fan email, so send us an email for anything. And if you're a fan art person, you're good at artistry,
and you want
a free T-shirt, if you make some designs for us, we can do that for you. So go if you have some design ideas or some font ideas or something. We have our own ideas, but it'd be really cool if our fans made the designs for our shirts. That'd be a lot of fun because we're all about the community here at Empire Radio, and the more we can involve the fans, the better the community, in our opinions. So. And I think that then needlesslynerdy.com, there's a link for that, which is a entertainment network that we're a part of. So go check them out for more nerdy content apart from us here at Empire Radio. All right. Anything else, Drew?
No, that's it.
All right. Cool. Well, you have been listening to another behind the scenes-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.